Alafia. Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to welcome you to our weekly discussion about tradition and herbs. So, this evening, we are going to speak about a very trendy topic, which is the topic of herbal bath. What's an herbal bath and why do we use it? What does it do for us? Okay, is it something is it a real thing or is it a fake? That's what we're going to be chatting tonight. And as usual, I'm happy to co-present with my co-host Baba.
Ifa Bemero.
Yeah, Baba Fabimero, but you're right here.
Yeah, hi. I am Ifa Bemero. I'm the co-host for the show. And tonight I'm going to open by reading an essay Ifa from the Udu, Owari Oyeku. A war that was first announced will never kill a lame man was cast for Iwori. They told him to be prepared, for death was on its way. But if Iwori would sacrifice, that could be averted. The sacrifice was a calabash of mashed yams mixed with oil, lots of kola nuts to disperse among the poor, a chicken, a sheep, and 240,000 koris. Iwori listened and made the sacrifice. Ifa speaks here about the possibility of premature death for this person and this sacrifice as prescribed above. All right. I do not need to interpret the essay if I think it's very clear. And what is in essence saying is that that could be averted through the use of Herbal. All right.
Absolutely.
And I would turn back over to the host for tonight's show for her to introduce the topic for tonight again.
Okay, so once again, our tonight we're gonna spend a moment speaking about the benefit of an herbal bath. So bathing in herb or bathing in a herb infused water help reduce your stress. It will help soothe your skin and it can also provide an authentic spa-like experience right in the comfort of your home, providing you have a bathtub. But just soaking yourself in regular hot water, it's already very calming to your nerves and it also help to rekindle your metabolism. So for example, if you are very tired or if you feel very sluggish, just taking a hot bath is going to help you, get a boost and get yourself going. Even people who have issues falling asleep, just taking a warm bath usually get them straight and help them to fall asleep a whole lot faster. Okay, so choosing the right herbs or choosing herbs for the specific therapeutic benefit is technically a traditional bush bath concept. It's nothing new, but you can take it to the next level. And now, when you take it to the next level, we actually call it an herbal bath. So, it's not like the old time. It's not like the old time bush bath where, the grandmothers would just stick their hand and, we would wash those herbs over and over in the water. Of course, back in the days, we never used to blend the herbs in the blender. Well, nowadays, I'll be guilty of this. You just shove it in the blender and we just pour it out totally green. Back in the days, people used to take a time and, wash all the nutrient from the leaves into the water or boil it according to what you are using. Okay. So it's simply an old tradition, but one that is definitely getting a lot of momentum and it's gaining a lot of popularity. So considering that throughout this whole pandemic contest, most of us are experiencing boredom, anxiety, stress, even depression. Herbal baths are just a great way to calm your nerve and to relax, and to just think about something else than your regular routine or whatever you might be experiencing when it comes to your job or your unemployment, as a matter of fact, because a lot of people are experiencing job loss. Okay, or the fact that we have too many children running around the house because many people are not able to send their children to school. So, as the name suggests, an herbal bath is a way to infuse your hot water with specific herbs. So, it's not just herbs, by the way. It can also be roots, it can also be bark, it can also be flowers, it can also be seeds. Okay, but it can also be essential oil. So it is something that everybody can access. It can be salt, for example. You could use maybe the ground spice from your cabinet. It could be anything natural, but you just have to select what you're using according to your specific purpose. For example, it could be to improve your blood circulation. Okay, it could be to ease your headache. But you can make your bath a unique experience by using a combination of the herbs that you like or whatever suit your needs. So let's speak about some common ingredients of an herbal bath. So, for example, if you go on Amazon, because Amazon is, the get to go place for everybody when anything natural, anything trendy, and you look for an herbal bath, you may find some containing chamomile. A lot of them contain chamomile. Chamomile, you could go to the supermarket and actually just buy whatever they have over there. It's cheaper than ordering from Amazon. And chamomile just is used as a tea to relieve the stress and remove the tension from the body. And if you bathe in it, it's going to do exactly the same. Why? Because whatever you are soaking yourself in is actually absorbed by the pore of the body. So therefore, it is also entering your bloodstream just as if you were drinking it. Okay. You can use eucalyptus. Is that the way you pronounce it, Baba?
Yes, eucalyptus.
Eucalyptus. Sometimes my French accent. So we use eucalyptus bath to boost the mood. So if you're feeling stressed out, if you're feeling down, if you're feeling sad, one great way to get yourself going again is to take an herbal bath with eucalyptus. We have eucalyptus growing in the Caribbean, and we even have it here on my island in St. Martin. One way we use it sometime as well is to just get a few branches and you just wrap it at the top of the shower. So providing you have hot water, the steam of it will help the eucalyptus just steam the entire room. And that is great, if you have a long day at work and you were very stressed, this will just release your mind. But we also use it, for example, to get rid of a chest congestion, to clear any flu-like symptoms, any cold, any allergies, anything that needs to do with your respiratory system, bathing with eucalyptus is going to get you great relief. Holy basil is also known for stimulating and energizing the body. I think some of us in the Caribbean also call it basilic.
Yeah,
I
I think we have several
sometimes call it
varieties.
basil.
We have several varieties in the Caribbean.
Exactly. So this you can also use it to energize your body. And if you combine it also with leftover orange peel, by the way, especially if you live in the Caribbean of using like what we call quote unquote organic oranges, save the orange peel. It's a great tea, but it's also a great natural ingredient to add to your bath. So if you combine the basil and the orange peel, it's really adding to your experience of rejuvenation. Okay. And you can do like the old people, right? Prepare your bush bath in a pot, not directly in the tub. So you could scoop some and have to drink before you pour it into your bath. Back in the days, that's not the way they were doing it. But anyhow, we'll talk about it in a while. Lavender is also a great one to have. Why? Because lavender it helps people to relax and also to combat insomnia. Actually, people sometimes add lavender oil to their shampoo as well, to help to relax, the pores on the scalp. It relaxes the body so much that in turns it also reduces stress, it promotes hair growth and all of the above. And let's take it to India. In India, also, they use those herbal bath. So it's in the tradition of Ayurveda. So it means that it's been taking place for over 5,000 years ago to still taking place right now. So it's not anything new over there. And it's nothing like more trendy than before. One of the herbs that I love to use is sarsaparilla. For all the great followers of Dr. Sebi, we all like to use sarsaparilla to clean the blood. So in India, it is also used in the Ayurvedic formulation that's called Nalangu Mahavu. And this one, for example, is used with white turmeric, not the regular turmeric because you're going to be a bit orangey or yellow afterwards. There is a variety of turmeric that's white. And this along with other ingredient that we will not be displaying right here on this video. But with this formulation, for example, it is used to treat skin conditions. So anything like eczema, any other skin rash or skin ulcers, itching, insect bite. It's great for people who suffer from acne because it helps to absorb the excess oil from the skin, but without drying it. So I would say that those baths technically help to restore a natural pH balance of the skin. It's great to reduce inflammation and also to boost a greater synthesis of any antioxidant that is contained in the herb bark, seed, or root that you are using in your herb infused water. By the way, it also helped to reduce significantly the signs of aging because you are technically soaking in raw antioxidant component. So instead of spending a lot of money buying creams and all of those stuff, simply just gather your herbs and then bathe in herbal water. Okay, so in the Caribbean, we also have this tradition to use the herbs and to bathe with. Okay, one of my favorite, for example, is the glory cedar. The glory cedar has many other names. So for the purpose of presenting this evening, I found it fun to go and find out from other diaspora members how they refer to glory cedar. So in some Hispanic country, it is called Madero Negro.
Okay.
And in some other country, it is named quick stick.
Wow.
But and for in French we call it le cèdre glorieux, almost the same as glory cedar, but just the French version. But the one that make me smile the most is mataraton. And it make me smile because I had a rat situation this week. And had I know that I could have used this plant to help me, trust me, I would have been so glad. So mataraton literally means to kill rodents. So that's one that you may want to remember if you are located in the Caribbean or
Okay.
in Latin America. So for example, the glory cedar, it is brewed as tea and it's also drunk for cough and asthma. That is in some particular island, but for most places we use it to bathe with. So we
Okay.
also use it for skin infection, especially for babies. I have four children, and the two older children both bathe in Glory Cedar. By the time I had the twins, I could never find enough Glory Cedar to bathe both of them. As a matter of fact, when I had the twins, well, that's the joke I have. The focus was always to stop them from crying. So we didn't have time to worry about, good skin. We were using another bush to get them calm all the time. But we'll get to that other bush afterwards. So my eldest daughter used to have terrible skin infection, a lot of eczema, and today she has beautiful skin. But what really made the difference was not all the cream that we were prescribe and all the antibiotics, which was making things even worse. It was definitely the bath in Glory Cedar, and it helped really to clear the skin, remove everything, and the properties of that plant definitely is insect repellent. That's number one. So if you bathe yourself in Glory Cedar, if you bathe your baby in Glory Cedar, there'll be less mosquito bite, for example. That's something we all want. It
Okay.
is used also for a head wash because we often think of the herbal bath as just bathing the body. We wet the head, but we don't usually think about it as a shampoo replacement where you only use, herbal water to wash your hair. All right, but it is actually great for people who are suffering from migraine or any type of headache. It's great to actually just, get a good soak with the Glory Cedar, and then you don't need to take any painkiller. Okay, but don't take my word for it. Try it, develop your own experience. So Gloricida is also great as a bath for any rheumatic pain, any sprain, toes fracture, okay, and it's good for any itch and all of the above.
Okay.
So to go back to the mataraton, it is used to repel rodents, but not the leaves. You have to use the roots, or you have to use the seeds, or you have to use the bark. And how it is used, technically, it's like you would place it in several corners of your house where you feel like the rodent might be crossing by, and so the scent is going to be strong enough to repel them. All right, so that's what I'm reading from the tradition, and believe you me, I'm gonna definitely apply that and have around my yard so I could see less of those visiting the area because we are
Oh,
not friends. We are not friends. So another favorite to bathe babies is a soursop bush. So when I became a mother of twins, I stopped speaking about glory cedar and I switched to soursop, because we use the soursop to help the babies relax, for them to sleep faster. I mean, my first daughter bathed also in soursop, but it was because I didn't know how to braid hair yet. And so I had to make the baby sleep long enough so I could manage to braid her hair. So every Wednesday she would have a bath in soursop to knock her down, and so I could comb her hair every Wednesday. And now soursop is great. And take it from me, a mother of twins. If you have like a fussy baby, a baby who is crying a lot, who have a hard time falling asleep, or who needs to be in hands all the time, prior to falling asleep, use the soursop. There are many names of for soursop, and graviola is the one everybody goes by. But for us in the Caribbean is soursop. Okay. So it's not just good for the bath. You could also crush the leaf and stash them in the pillow, stash them under the mattress, in the sheet. It relaxes the entire body. Okay. And it's also great for people who suffer different type of skin infection. I mean, it's recommended as a powerful antioxidant for people who are suffering from cancer. So if you're experiencing any type of skin eruption because of whatever infection or disease you might be, handling, it is great to bathe in this bush to repair your skin as well. So, Baba, do you have any recommendation for that bath in particular?
soursop
Yes.
generally tend to be a sedative. Here we use the leaf as well as the bud of the young plant of the young fruit for babies. We
Okay.
also use beside the soursop bud, we use lime bud also to help
Okay.
babies sleep and any discomfort associated with gripes and stuff like that. We normally use both the soursop bud and the lime bud also.
Okay, good. I didn't know about the lime for the babies. So
Yeah.
that's great.
But I want to ask a couple of questions though.
Sure.
I just want to go back to the very beginning, um, where you mentioned herbal baths, right?
Mhm.
Am I hearing correct? Are you saying to me in reality that herbal baths are more or less a rebranded version of bush baths? I just want to be sure that's what I heard because that's what it sounded like to me.
But that's exactly what I'm saying. I mean, there's this whole trend everywhere, and now you find people of absolutely any path, any walks of life, any particular heritage, swearing by those therapeutic herbal bath. This is something our ancestors used to do. Very often we look down on what our grandparents would do, and we say, okay, they bagay vie. We don't want to look at the old people stuff. But that's technically what they used to do. So it's just like a redo of well, an imitated version, I would say, of what the elders used to do. Because what a bush bath look like now, we all have those pictures of seeing something very sensual and smelling nice, etc., etc. Sometime when the grandparents used to blend the bush bath, it wasn't always smelling nice. And sometimes it didn't look good neither. But
Okay.
we just have to step into it.
All right. So then, now that we have established it is essentially a bush bath, now I
Hmm.
want to ask about the different modern applications. We have saunas, which are steam baths,
Hmm.
where they use essential oils, which is
Okay.
also herbal based.
Hmm.
Um, we have tub soaks, which is basically what you were talking about in the beginning when you referred to herbal baths. And then we have the
Yes.
outright bath, which technically I think you mentioned the eucalyptus being tied to the shower and the hot water coming out and the steam being produced. The
Hmm.
traditional bush bath may have included the boiling of the herb
Hmm.
and they being
Acid
poured out into buckets, and the calabash or the bowlie might be dipped into the bucket and poured on top of the person's head.
for the person.
Yeah,
Not forgetting macerating for 6 to 8 hours. Sometimes
right.
it was prepared at the sunset or especially in the morning so that it could be warmed by
The
the
sun.
heat of the sun.
Yeah.
Exactly. But also back in the days, well, I wouldn't say what we, because even when I was given bush bath when I was younger, the bath would probably be used within the same day twice, and that was it. There would be a next one prepared for the next day. But way before time, it wasn't like that. Sometimes it would be one bush bath for the entire week,
Okay.
especially if the herbs were not found close by, they would keep the same bath for the entire week.
Okay.
And it wasn't something specific for a health situation. Every child in the household would bathe with that same
Yes.
bush bath.
Well, I think over time,
Hmm.
um, I don't think the tradition has absolutely disappeared in the diaspora, but I think science somehow has played a role in
Hmm.
sort of morphing it into something else. For example, we have something called blue soap.
Hmm.
We also have something called carbolic soap. So
Yes.
science has sort of taken some aspects of the tradition and sort of package it as commercial articles. So now we could actually go to the store and buy a carbolic soap. We could go to the store and buy a blue soap. You know, so to a great extent, the modern products and the articles that are available for having herbal baths didn't just fall out of the sky. I think over a period of time, with technological advancement and with science sort of influencing the changes that we have seen, the essence of what was practiced by the older people somehow still exists today in one form or another.
It
Right?
does.
Yeah, but let's talk a little bit about well, I want to introduce one herb that you didn't talk about,
Sure.
and this herb, the trendy name for this herb is kava kava. This
Hmm.
particular herb is a herb that has always been used in Trinidad by the traditionalists. They call the herb, the local name is lani bois, or lani boy, some people say, or some people say nani bois. So there are a few variations for the name of this herb. This herb grows wild in a lot of the cool valleys throughout the country at Trinidad, and in a lot of the dense forest areas along the pathway. This herb gives off an extremely pleasant smell. Actually, this is one of the favorites for the Rastas when they go to take their baths in the springs. They actually use this as like a deodorizing soap. That is to tell you how pleasant the odor is. Now, a lot of the old traditionalists, when they would clean their yards and their places, particularly some of the religious centers, what they would do is they would actually pick these leaves and they would mix it into the water, macerate, crush up the leaves, and they would
Hmm.
sprinkle the water with the leaf content and leave the leaf content overnight. and then the following morning they would just sweep it out of the place. Okay, so this leaves the place with a very fresh, pleasant smell. It creates a pleasant atmosphere.
That is
Apparently, the chemical components of the kava kava is known to be a sedative and a calmative. So people who have nervous disorders, etc., would use the kava kava plant in order to sedate themselves to be more relaxed. People whose nerves are easily excited. So it would seem that the older people and the ancient people, they may not have had a lot of the scientific explanations that we have today. But I think
yes.
over time they were able to discover some of the effects that many of these plants would have. And they
Definitely.
put it to use based on these said effects. Um, the kava kava today is used for spiritual baths, etc., etc. It's still used in many of the parleys, as I mentioned before, as an agent for cleaning the place, as well as for deodorizing the place, the space also. Um, Again, it is known now with modern science as kava kava. That is the I guess the proprietary name, and it is used as a sedative for people with nervous disorders. Um, as I mentioned, we talk about the soursop and the soursop bud, and I also mentioned the lime bud. Um, Again, two things about it: the sedative effect, like for babies, and also it would seem that for gripes and for things of that nature, it probably would as a mild analgesic, meaning as a pain reliever for the case of the stomach gripes in babies, right? There are many other herbs that are used for other reasons other than just for letting babies sleep comfortably or to get relief from gripe. For instance, there is the bitter melon, the Karaili. It's a very popular herb that is used for bathing babies who may have heat rash or any other type of skin conditions. All right. It is known to be anti-parasitic, right? So therefore, any type of bacteria or parasites or anything that might be on the surface of the skin, this particular plant is known to eliminate all such associated problems. Itching, rashes, heat rash. That is another common complaint with babies. And Corelli has been known to work quite effectively for the longest while for skin problems. It is also a herb too that is used for disorders associated to female complaints. Menstrual cramps, menstrual pain, things of that nature. But I mean, we don't want to go really into the internal use. We want to stay on the issue of baths. Now, you mentioned something, and I want to ask. I want to ask a little bit more questions on it. That's the white saffron. You mentioned skin condition also for the bathing, right?
Yes.
Right. Um. Well, like the bitter melon, I am curious to find out, is this one of the herbs that also affect the function of the liver? Because you find most herbs that are used for external eczemas and skin problems and all of that tend to stimulate the liver function. Is that the same situation with the white saffron? Would you be able to tell me anything about that?
Most of the herbs that we use, including the white saffron, is going to stimulate the liver because it is definitely working as on the inflammation. So to help you to read your inflammation and as you absorb, all the residue through the liver, definitely you could have reactions. Some people are not supposed to use some of those herbs, even the one you just mentioned, those who have weaker livers. Lanigua, you call it, right? The kava kava. Even this one, and this one is one that not everybody should use, or at least it should be used under proper supervision of elders who know how to use the plant. Okay.
Okay.
Because if it is used in high concentration, then it can cause liver damage. But that is especially when you use it internally, which is the reason why using those herbs in a bath sometimes is a whole lot safer than drinking it if you are not sure what concentration you should use.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess that sort of answers my question, because also too the same proviso or warning for the kava kava is also intact, because I think high doses of kava kava also affect the liver function. So it's
Typically.
normally recommended that you go to an expert who
Exactly.
knows exactly the dosages and everything to apply in order
Exactly.
for you to have the results you want without any harmful side effects.
Definitely. Definitely.
All right, I want us to discuss rather a little bit more about the epidermis as a organ, because most people don't seem to think that the skin is an organ. So I want us to go a little bit into that, and I want us, because I heard you mention just the same way we would drink through our mouth and things would enter into our system through the mouth. You also mentioned that we also absorb stuff through the pores also. So we want to discuss that whole thing about bathing and the skin and everything. Because our entire body is covered by the epidermis.
Definitely. Well, the skin is technically the body largest organ. It's more than just a surface for pimples, for tattoos and wrinkles, Along with the hair and the nails, the gland and the nerve, it's part of a system that's called the integumentary system. Okay, and it acts as a protective barrier between the outside and the inside of the body. So it can account for 16 to 30% of the body weight.
Uh,
Okay, but there are different thickness and textures of skin. But what we have to remember from this is that whatever we put on the layer of the skin is absorbed, okay, into the epidermis, dermis, epidermis, and then it's straight into your organ, your other cells. So using an herbal bath, for me not to say using a bush bath, actually is a great way to use your herbs because it is indeed absorbed by the skin.
all right. Well, you say you don't want to use bush bath, but then now we want to go back to the second stream that we did, where we were talking about skin brushing, the skin brushing technique as a way to stimulate liver function and to improve circulation and the condition of your skin. So now I am saying,
Mhm.
so when the old people used to get the bush bath, right?
Okay.
They dip the calabash, they throw the water on your head. Then what they used to do, they would have branches and leaves and everything tear up and mix up.
And
And then they would
scrub.
dip their hands in the bucket. And then they would take this and they go scrub your skin all over from head to toe while they
Oh,
pour in the water. So now I want to ask.
mhm,
Now we mentioned the epidermis
mhm.
as being able to absorb fluids through the pores. But then we must consider the fact that it also expels waste. So whenever a person take a bush bath and you're scrubbing the skin with the bush and all this kind of a thing, are you in fact stimulating the organs to function better as both
Function better.
elimination as well as absorption instruments?
Well, definitely, because when you are scrubbing the skin, all the pores, not only the pores are open a whole lot wider, so they are going to absorb a whole lot more from the herb, from the water. Okay. And in that case, by that time, it's herbal water. So it's like whenever the water goes in, the herb is also going in. It's also absorbed. But it's not just that. When you are brushing the skin, whether with the branches or the dry leaves or whatsoever, the bark, even a loofah will do, Um, this is actually creating heat on the body. So it's
Friction,
actually
through the friction.
friction is creating heat in the body. So therefore, it is going to get the metabolism of the body to act to be elevated and to act a whole lot quicker. So you're gonna get an immediate absorption in the body, and it's going to go straight through, the lymphatic system. And now the lymphatic system is made to just flush things out of the body, to help nutrient to circulate a whole lot faster. The clearer the lymph and the healthier we are, the cleaner your blood. And so this herbal water is going straight into the lymphatic system. So it's going to cause indeed a flush. On babies in particular, you will notice that children who are bathed often enough in bush bath do not experience constipation. They always regular. They go to the bath, they have all their bowel movement. Mothers are happy when children are taking the babies are taking the bush bath.
Okay. So then we are saying, beside just the absorption of the nutrients through the epidermis, we're also talking about stimulating the organs so that they would function more effectively. We're talking about removing waste, dead
Mhm.
skin, dead cells, etc., from the
Exactly.
traditional bath. We are talking about lying down in a tub, soaking in
No,
some boiled herb waters here. We're talking about
no.
oil and the
The
calabash
bush bath.
and
Oh yes,
scrubbing of the skin
yes,
with the actual
yes,
herbal contents that is in the bucket.
yes.
All right, so we are just doing so much with this traditional method. Why then do you think we would have lost this important uh,
Part tradition.
scientific aspect of the tradition? Why would we have lost something of such tremendous value?
It's like we still live in a society where technically um to be smart, to be trendy, to be modern, the people are encouraged to part from the tradition and part from the heritage and technically part from the original identity. So you would find a lot of people now to just leave those practices and they only go back to it when they get into critical situation, especially critical health situation, and that modern medicine can't really help them with. So then they tend to ask themselves, what did people used to do before? You ask somebody in your family probably who suffered something similar, but who were able to manage their symptoms. And so now we go back to the way things used to be. It is also, in my opinion, that because in the traditional bush bath, um, the elders would always scoop some of the water with the calabash, and the person would be given some of the water to drink. So even today, you would find doctors or you would find all kind of modern people to say it's not healthy, it's full of germs because the water is used more than once, or because technically it's like if you insert the entire body in the water, then you should not take from the same water and drink it because you just scrub all the impurities of your skin. It's floating in the water as well, and then you're drinking it.
Yeah,
But
but Doc, Doc,
mhm,
let me ask a question.
go ahead.
Do you think people who grow up hardy and are
Mhm.
exposed to various bacteria survive better under health crisis than individuals who are not at all exposed to these certain germs and bacteria? Because I
Listen,
mean, you know,
of
you're
course,
going in
of
the
course.
rabbit hole. So I mean, I'm just asking the logical
Listen,
question.
I totally agree with you. When we were asked to confine in St. Martin, I wondered, okay, what happened to all those crackheads who sleep in the street? I'm like, okay, well, the COVID might take them down and they might just, that might be just the end for them. But those people are still, the people they sleep in the road, they eat from the garbage, and they never had any mask on. COVID didn't take them. Those people have some strong immune system, and it's like if they now are so strong, imagine people who are exposed to different adversities, including drinking from your bath water. Then of course your immune system is able to fight better whenever infection come your way.
All right. So let's go now from the traditional bush bath. Let's talk about saunas a little bit in
Sure.
relation to steam and in
Mhm.
relation also to the herbs that I use. Now, in terms of saunas,
Mhm.
it's thermal therapy,
Mhm.
herbal therapy. Um, how does it work? What does it do with the heat as well as with the epidermis and the absorption of the phytoelements of the plant? How does we just talk about the bush bath, so we understand skin brushing, we understand the technique of stimulating the skin, stimulating the nerves, getting the absorption of the herbs in, etc., etc. Well, let's now, because as far as I'm concerned, these are three variations that all came from the tradition. So let's
Yeah.
now talk about sauna.
Okay, so the three terms that you have used, sometimes they are used interchangeably, but like it's not necessarily the same. Okay, so the sauna, what it does, it helps to raise the body's internal temperature so that you would sweat. So by opening the pores of the skin, it enables to the pores to get rid of the impurities that you have in your system. So it is the same principle of getting your lymphatic system to drain itself out and expel the impurities through the skin. Now, it is also used with herbs. In Asia, it's used a lot, but not just in Asia. Also, let me try to find the right. In Algeria and those Arabian countries, they also have that tradition.
They say Middle East, but it's North Africa actually.
Exactly. They also
Yeah.
have that tradition with the hammam. So in the hammam now they would have either like pots with like something like an incense burning,
Okay.
also for it to be absorbed in the through the pores of the body, also with the same purpose to relax the body, to relieve pain, aches, but also the overall focus is always purification of the body. So you use the herbs to help detoxify the body from whatever toxic agents.
All right, Doc. The normal thing is as we start having fun, we run out of time. We have 5 more minutes. But let me talk about the least among the disciple here, which is the tub soaks. Right? The most trendy one, the most popular one, but of all the different things that we have spoken about, it takes last place. But so you have 5 minutes. Let me talk a little bit about tub soaks, and then you would close the program off.
Well, the top soak are just like a great way to reconnect with an old tradition. Of course, if you're using your bathtub, we do not recommend that you have all the herbs soaking into the bathtub, for the simple reason that you might clog the tub. So we would recommend that you prepare your bath and have it soaking in a different pot for a few hours and then pour the water and strain the herbs into your bathtub. Okay, so it recommends that the concentration of your preparation should be strong enough so that you could benefit from all the herbal element of that preparation.
Okay. All right, well, I think you did that in a real short space of time, boy. But anyway, so basically you're saying that with the tub baths, the only thing you have a chance is you're soaking. If you have the right concentration, if it's strong enough, and you soak long enough, a few things might get absorbed by your epidermis.
It will
Okay?
get absorbed. What you can enhance your bath with is maybe have a loofah sponge. If you don't have a loofah sponge, you use you could they sell all different type of synthetic sponge, but it's not the same experience when the sponge is synthetic, and so you could scrub your skin, with those, and then sit in your bath. But it's always important to scrub the skin as well.
All right, okay. Well, all right, well, I guess we will take that. And we're gonna close the show off now. So you go ahead, Doc. Let people know where they can contact you, what platforms the video is going to be streamed on, etc., etc. And if you have any upcoming events that you would like people to tune into, you could also let them know.
But I'm gonna take this opportunity to invite our viewers to log in into the Global Stress Management Summit that's going to take part in the Africa Stress Management Facebook group. It's a global event that's held every year. And this year we're gonna have different speakers who come from different parts of Africa, but not just Africa, also the diaspora. And I'll be one of the speakers speaking about the different herbs that can be used to relieve stress and to manage stress throughout this post-COVID situation. You can find me on social media by tapping the hashtag Bell Sanko Farm, or through the Facebook page Bell Sanko Farm Herbals, as well as Sanko for Holistic Alternative.
All right. Well, I would just give a little bit of a list of some of the platforms that I would normally stream this same video from. All right. One of the main platforms we're on is the IFA Orisha Tradition Discussion Group of Trinidad and Tobago. We're also on Ifa Bemero, home of Orisha tradition. We're also on the Ifa Orisha Institute of Sacred and Divine Sciences. We're also on the Grassroots Education and Entertainment Network. We're also on the IIM group and discussion. Plus, we're also on the Irie Island Research Study Group. All right, these are the platforms on which you could actually view these videos. We would ask you to like, share, as well as, subscribe to the page. All right,
Definitely.
and with that, we would like to say Oda Bo and see you next time on
Well,
Traditional Herbal Health Forum. Thank you and have a good evening. Oda Bo.
whatever.